from Crystal Sews and Stuff on Instagram. Welcome to the channel today. Today I wanted to share with you my review of the Dani Pinafore by Seamwork Patterns. Seamwork Patterns are, Seamwork Magazine is a digital magazine put forth by Collette patterns, and it's their it's supposed to be their more easy to sew line of patterns. So this pattern has a nice V-neck and a regular neck in the back, and it has pockets, lined pockets. The whole pinafore is fully lined, and the fabric that I use for my outer fabric is a Robert Kaufman ginger corduroy fabric that I received from Mayfield Fabrics as part of her vlog team. So I really like it. It's really nice, and it's perfect for the winter. And so let me tell you a little bit more about the pattern. So the lining, I lined it with nice silk satin fabric, and I'll show a closer up picture. And I've had this fabric in my stash for a while now, and I believe I got it in New York at some point, but I don't remember when I got it exactly. But I've had this nice this silk lining for a while. It was my first time working with silk, and it wasn't as bad as I thought it would be. I just made sure I just went really slow with the scissors and weighed it down really well. And but it's not a really super slinky silk. So anyway, I lined it with silk, a white silk lining, and the pattern pieces, there were 13 pattern pieces. So there was a separate pattern piece for the outer fabric and as well as for the lining fabric. So it wasn't like a lot of patterns if you've never done a lining, a lot of them just have you just cut out the pattern pieces twice. But this had separate pattern pieces for all the lining pieces. So you had to cut out the skirt, main, front and back, and then you had to cut out with a whole nother pattern piece the lining front and back, as well as the bodice front and back. So there were a total of 13 pattern pieces, which is, I consider it a lot. Anything over like 5 or 6, I consider a lot of pattern pieces. So, and it does not have any zipper. So the thing is, you just pull it over your head. So this is really easy. If you're afraid to sew a pattern with a lining, you don't have to worry about trying to figure out how to put in a zipper. The next thing I wanted to tell you about was the hem. I hemmed it using machine hem for the lining, and I hand sewed the main fabric hem because since there wasn't any top stitching or anything along the bodice part, I decided I didn't want any top stitching to show at all on the front. So I decided to do a catch stitch all the way around for the lining. So, and then the last thing I want to tell you about the instructions. The instructions were very detailed. They had you do the burrito method for the sleeve holes, which I looked at the picture, but it was a little unclear from the picture what they were doing. But after I unpicked it, I said, wait a minute, they must be explaining the burrito method, because when I read the directions, the pictures, because of all the pattern pieces were kind of the same color, it was a little confusing. But if you do make this pattern, just look up how to do the burrito method on sleeves, and I'll leave a link to a video that I looked at to figure out the sleeves, to do the burrito method for the sleeves. So that was one little hiccup with the lining. I mean, they were very detailed. There were, let's see, there's 26 pages in this pattern. So it's pretty, 26 pages all together, and of the pattern to explain, of instructions, that's what I'm going to say. 25 pages total for the pattern, and about 10 of them are just the instructions. So once I figured that out, it was pretty easy. And then the last issue that I had was attaching the bodice lining to the skirt lining. So in the directions, they had you sew the lining to this the waist seam right here. But then I couldn't figure out how they wanted, even from the directions. I read them several times, but I just couldn't work out exactly what they wanted me to do. So I'll show you. the photo. So I couldn't work out exactly how they wanted me to attach the lining to the skirt lining. So what I ended up doing, because I just said this is just too much of a headache and I'm ready to be done. So what I did was I sewed it, the bodice lining to the skirt lining, right sides together, and then I just serged it and then I pressed it down. So I'll leave a picture of what it looked like in the end, and I think it looks fine. It's fine, but next time I think I'll probably just still attach the skirt lining the way they did in the instructions, but I would have probably just slip stitched the bodice lining down. But either way it works. I think it still looks cute. So let me show you now a little clip of me wearing the dress out on the deck. Of the Dani Pinafore by Seamwork Patterns. I hope you give it a try. It's a really great pattern, very stylish. I can imagine making this again in a denim in the summer. It would be really cute. I sewed a size 6 at the top and a 10 at the bottom because of my body measurements, and I just graded from a 6 here and into from up here out to a 10 here. So, and it really fits me nicely, and I can get it over my head really easily. So I hope you give it a try. I look forward to talking to you next time. Take care.